Hey Ryan, dreaded chef, how you going?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, excellent. Just had a nice, awesome weekend camping, and then get back home and finish the weekend off by interviewing you. So that's a pretty cool weekend in my books.
So the best till last, right?
Yeah, exactly. We did have some awesome food on our trip though, so
Oh
we
yeah,
I'd love to say we'd have missed you, but there was some pretty good chefs there anyway, so I got lucky. That's for
nice,
sure.
nice,
So,
nice, nice.
how did your weekend go? Did you get out? Did you do anything good with your weekend?
Oh, geez, what did I do this weekend? Like, it's actually I've been really, really busy at the moment. My fiance and I are trying to build our second house, so we're looking at like house plans and stuff like that, and we're looking for that future home environment. Um, so yeah, we've been busy organizing that, and then we're getting married next year, so it's also wedding stuff as well. And then somewhere in all of that, um, yeah, just planning future shootings and stuff like that for the channel. So
Awesome.
getting recipes sorted. So real busy.
Yeah, cool. So, I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to interview is I'm definitely like a big fan, right? I mean, one thing I find from watching you is, it's obvious you love what you do, and I think like a lot of chefs I've met in the past, you enjoy cooking for other people. It's not really, it's about giving other people the pleasure of your food and watching them enjoy it. Is that was that like the game changing thing that made you sort of take cooking to the next level and really get you into where you are now with the dreaded chef?
Yeah, so like I've worked in commercial kitchens for quite a long time. And going through that, like you can change restaurants, you can change menus and all that. You can work under different chefs, you can be the leading chef. But no matter where you go, like those challenges that are there quickly disappear. So I very quickly found myself trying to look for other challenges, and the main challenge and the main reward I got was teaching and showing apprentices and cooks how to cook different things and opening their minds to different creations and stuff and different flavor pairings and all that. So to watch them grow at the same time as like pleasing the customers in the restaurant, like it was really
Yeah.
rewarding. So it has become a main drive, and I'm no longer working in commercial kitchens. I'm kind of doing like catering gigs myself, and I'm now working in the human community services field. So it's a further extension to helping again. I thought, well, why not take it to a digital platform and I can help anyone who
Yeah.
wishes to click on that video. So yeah, it's pretty funky.
Yeah. I think like for people like me that I like to cook at home and probably cooking's one of the things that got me into camping as well because I just I love cooking outdoors and things like that. And I've done a little bit of commercial cooking when I was an apprentice and things like that. Had jobs in kitchens, so kind of know my way around a little bit of flavor pairings,
Mm,
like you said. I think that's one of the
mm,
hardest things to learn, right? But one of the things I would say when I watch your videos is you're really kind of free and easy with your measurements. You say like a kind of a cup of this and about a teaspoon of that, and you watch other people and they're absolutely precise. Is it something that What would your advice be for people? Is it something you can just get a
mm.
feel for?
So I started out with measurements. I won't lie. Like when I was day one in a kitchen, I was forever with like measuring spoons and measuring cups and making sure that they're level and everything's pedantic. And then I had this really, really good chef come in that scared the absolute crap out of me. Like he just had this presence like that just scared you, like you just knew that
Yeah,
you weren't going to muck up, you have to do the right job. And he came along and he said to me, if you're using these, and he picks up the measuring cups and spoons, and he's like, you have no use being in a kitchen. You need to learn to taste. And he threw them out. And he's like, right, I'm going to make something. You're going to watch. You're going to make it again. And it's going to taste the same. And if it's not, you're going to do it again until it is.
wow.
And yeah, so yeah, I very quickly learned to train my palate. And that was the whole purpose. He said that if you're only as good as that, that you can cook, and your cooking is only as good as your palate. So if you don't train your palate, then what are you going to create? So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and then and then it went into all the normal kitchen hazing stuff that you get, and I'd quickly, I'd go out the back and I'd rock up to work early. I'd quickly have a cigarette and a coffee, the chef's breakfast, and then I'd come back in, which is like the worst timing ever. He'd be standing there with a dish, and he'd be like, right, you can look at it once, you can taste it once, then you got to tell me what's in it.
Oh, gee.
And after a coffee and a cigarette, your taste buds are completely fried. So, I looked at this one dish one day, and he says, if you get it wrong, there's a punishment. There's 12 ingredients. I was like, okay. I tasted it and I went, no, there's not 12 ingredients. No way. So I rattled off every single ingredient that I knew. And then I was stuck and I was like, there's no more. But he's saying there's 12. So I gave him 12 ingredients. I just pulled extra ingredients out of nowhere that I thought was in it. And then he tells me after the end that I was wrong, and that I had the first 8 ingredients right, and there was only ever 8, and I should not ever trust what someone else puts in front of me in a kitchen to replicate, and that I should know what I'm doing, and I should trust my palate. So based off all those lessons and those hazings and stuff like that, that's how I learned to just quickly measure on the fly. But it takes practice. Anyone can do it. It just takes practice.
Yeah. So you just got to be confident then, and just, I always find tasting as you go is a massive thing. And I watch people cook and they don't taste their food as they go. And I just think it's going to be a surprise at the end if you don't. I mean, why do people do that? It's crazy.
That was the one thing that I told every single apprentice, is just taste. Like, I was always up them. I'm like, if I don't see a spoon in your hand, that means you're not tasting. And I was always onto them. But taste as you go. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. It's simple.
So I think coming off the back of a crazy year last year, and obviously we're still in a bit of a crazy year. I think you guys up in far north Queensland probably haven't been as affected as the likes of us down in Sydney, but in Australia in general, we've got away with it, really, right? I mean, we've been pretty lucky through the whole COVID thing. I think one thing though that I've really noticed from it is, especially trying to book campsites, everything's booked up, and I don't kind of mind that, because for me that means that people are getting out there and camping, and a lot more people than have ever done that. And I think the word influencer is just banded around now. Lots of young girls taking photos of themselves and calling themselves an influencer. But with what you do, you really are an influencer, because you have the ability to speak to someone through YouTube, and then these people are going out at weekends and doing exactly, having a crack at what you show them to do. So if you're new to camping and you're getting into cooking and things like that, what would you say is the essential kit that people have to take with them if they're new to it, if they're going out, if they're working, probably cooking on fire or cooking on coals, right? That's the traditional camping way if you're starting, or even if they've just got a little, gas stove. What's the essential gear they need?
So first of all, thank you for acknowledging myself as an influencer. That's a bit of a up there kind of title, and I'm not really, that's not really my goal to aspire to that level as such. I'm just doing what I do. So and in doing so, my mentality is not really on influencing, but more so inspiring, so I really appreciate that. But it might sound a little bit silly changing the words out, but I'd like to look at it like inspiring, because we all have our culinary skills already, and I'm hoping that from my videos people can expand on what they currently have. So it's an influence or inspire, change your words. I appreciate it nonetheless. That's really cool. I've been called a lot of things, but an influencer is not one of them.
I guess you influence me, so and you definitely inspire me. So I think both words work, right?
All right, we'll go with that. But as far as the camping kit, One of my main drives behind doing these bush cooks that I'm doing at the moment is to really show people that just because you're out in the sticks, you don't have to have like a pretty quick throw together, run of the mill basic meal. You can actually create something and really show off what you can do. Like, just because you're cooking over coals or fire, like, I do have a really funny story about cooking over fire and coals with a well-known Australian celebrity chef.
Really?
Yeah. I worked sort of kind of alongside them in a festival, like a food and wine festival, and set up this massive tripod barbecue. And so, my offsider and I, who I was helping out at the time, we had to go and set this big thing up, a big tripod barbecue up, and teach him how to use it. And, we basically said to him, and this applies to all cooking over fire and coals and even gas and electricity. It doesn't matter what source that you're using, is that if you turn it up, so if you add more wood to the fire, it's going to create more flame. And if it's more flame, that's more heat, which means it's going to be hotter in like the pan or pot or the grill, right? Yeah. And so we didn't think we'd have to explain that to this known celebrity chef, because we thought, well, if anything, he could probably teach us a few things, but apparently not. Like, apparently it was a bit of a disaster, and we had to go and fix it all up for him. But for the weekend warrior or that really active camper, the essential things, if you're cooking over wood fire and stuff like that, just number one thing to bring is your common sense when it comes to fire management, stuff like that. Safety is number one. We've just seen the country go through massive bushfires, and we've seen bushfires started from people throwing that empty stubby out the window, and the sunlight hits and whatnot. So common sense is always the main ingredient in any dish and the main equipment item to bring along. Outside of that, when it's just specifically around preparing food, what I recommend is that one knife that you're most comfortable using. Because if you're out of your home kitchen environment, you're in a separate environment, so you're not feeling 100% comfortable. You're feeling relaxed. You've probably had a few of these already, and you feel a bit loosey-goosey. So to pick up something that you don't use very often, you're increasing your risk. But if you pick up that knife that you use every day, that is going to get you through. But yeah, it doesn't really matter what you're cooking on, really. Like, I can put a skillet on a fire and cook something, like I can put it on on a gas stove and do the same thing. So, but yeah, it's common sense. Safety is number one always, especially if you're in a remote area. The last thing you want to do is, cut your hand open and get claret everywhere.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. Someone said to me once that a sharp knife is the safest knife as well, because you tend to respect it a bit more. You're not forcing it.
Yeah. I've taken many cuts to the fingers in my time, and I once put a blade straight through here and cut the tip of my thumb off. I was only hanging on by a bit, and I had to get it stitched up. And I'm thankful that it was a blunt knife, because at the time when I did it, like, if it was a sharp knife, it would have cut the whole thing off.
Yeah.
But if the fact that it was blunt, it meant it held on. However, because it was blunt, the cut itself was really rough, so it was hard for the doctors to repair. But yeah, a sharp knife is always the way to go. As soon as you start forcing, like, you let the knife do the work. As soon as you start, working the knife, that's when you're going to start hurting yourself big time.
Yeah. So I guess one of the other things from sort of what we're seeing with COVID, it is, like I said, a lot of people from the cities. I notice it, from the conversations I hear around work and things like that. People are getting out and doing stuff. These would have been the guys that are, traditionally heading over to Thailand, Vietnam, Bali, taking their holidays there. What do you think we can do to keep them interested once the flights and once everything opens back up again? Because it would be a shame to see like the industry sort of take a nosedive, and I think that we really need to support Australian businesses, things like Hip Camp and things like that, which are probably going really well at the moment, right? And I think that is helping a lot of landowners and things like that have opened up land for camping. You know, we all know how badly they've been affected by drought and fire in the last few years. So what do you think that, you know, we can do to keep people interested once the Bali trip is back on offer?
So, well, I think the first thing they could do is subscribe to our YouTube channels, right?
Oh,
like,
sure. Yeah.
like that. And I mean, if anything, if we think about it, that's the only solution here, isn't it? Like subscribe to our channels, learn how to use that campsite to the maximum potential. But I mean, outside of that, I guess what we can do as a community is to share our passion with other people that might be interested in joining our community, because, you know, the thing is, like, for all of us campers, no matter which walk of life, no matter which country we're in, if we love camping, the one thing that we love about camping is not just to get away from our daily grind, but to really appreciate where we live and to really take in that beautiful scenery that we have on offer. So I guess the best thing we can do is to show that to people and hopefully influence/inspire them to go out to those sites or find their own site and make their own experience rather than buying that quick plane trip over to Bali for 2 weeks and coming back. So, you know, like, I think that's the best thing we could do outside of subscribing to our channel.
Yeah, of course. Well, I hope we start seeing things like the drifter camping events come back as well. I mean, I think that was how I probably become aware of you and watching Mr. Buckarooni's channel when you did like an epic cook-off. Yeah,
that guy.
I'm sure he'll be. Yeah, that's the guy. I'm sure he'll be pleased with the plug.
I can't escape him, mate. Like, I'll have that one beer just before bed. I'll put it on my bedside table. I'll wake up, and that's the first face I see. Like, it makes you jump a bit, doesn't it?
Aussie legend. What can you say? I mean,
I don't
Buck. Think he needs the plug. He doesn't need the plug from our channel, though. I think he's doing pretty well, right?
He's really good. I like him. He's all right. But
he's doing some great stuff, and you know, one thing I love about Buck is the amount of stuff he does for charity, and you know, the recent ones with the shirts and that awesome work. And you know, he could easily pile all that money that he makes back into from his channel back into know gear, but he's doing some great stuff there. So big shout out to Buck.
Exactly.
But no, I think so. I was going to say, so coming on from Mr. Buckaroony, what I saw at that Queensland camping event was you cooking with a massive smoker. So, you know, and I just thought, oh my God, there must have been how many people were there that day? And you were cooking on there for what, 15, 20 hours beforehand. It looked huge.
Yeah. So that was a massive event. That was really good. It was quite large. I think I might have lost you there.
If it goes, it comes back. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I mean, with that event, it was quite large, with people, but to cook it and stuff, like, it was actually quite easy. There was 300 people there that I fed over, like, I fed 3 meals a day for 3 days, but it was all dinner meals. So I had plenty of time throughout the day to prep and just gave an assortment of meals. But yeah, I prepped that. I started prepping that the start of that week, and that was actually the food component, getting everything ready. Like, I make all my rubs and my sauces from scratch. I don't use any pre-bought rubs or anything. They're all tweaked by me over time to where I want them specifically. And then so I made sure that they were all ready. And even months and months and months before that, like, Buck and I back and forth on the phone, mate, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? This is what I'm going to cook. Buck was just like, it all sounds good. Just do whatever you feel. I was like, all right, cool. But lots of wood, lots of fire over a long period. And Yeah, 20-hour beef brisket. Like,
Yeah, the camping event I just been on this weekend, it was we had a smoker there, and they did a brisket, and it was up there 15 to 18 hours, somewhere around there. They had it on, and it was absolutely awesome.
nice.
So yeah,
So nothing can beat it.
no, I mean, what would you say is your favorite preferred style? Is it smoking meat, or do you prefer cooking on fire, direct on fire? Where do you sit if it's your favorite food?
I don't really ever have a favorite dish. Like, I've been asked a bazillion times before, what's your favorite dish? And I don't have one because I like so many and it's really hard to choose. And I go through peaks and troughs, where I'm fixated on a certain thing. And but yeah, I definitely have been fixated on wood-fired cooking for a while, whether that be smoking or over direct fire. It goes back to some of my earliest memories as a kid, like being down in my grandparents' house for Christmas. The whole family's coming around, and I'm like really, really young, and all I want to do is take a bath, but I can't because there's a whole pig in the bathtub with bags of ice around it. So I'm upset because I can't play with my toys and I have to have a shower. And then the next day there's this pig spinning around on the spit, and they're like a whole bunch of blokes who stand around and go like, yeah, just sipping beers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of always, like appealed to me just because of nostalgia reasons, but yeah, it's definitely something I'm really, really enjoying. It's upping that challenge for me. Like, I kind of feel that every time I light a fire to cook, each thing that I'm doing is getting better and better. And yeah, I'm just happy to cook, really. Like, food is fun.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. What sort of got you into the whole YouTube thing? What were the people that kind of influenced you, or to say, well, yeah, I'd like to do this? I mean, obviously you've got the skill set to do it, but was there any other channels that you were watching and thinking, I could do a better job than that, or not being cheeky to them, but
like one of my last jobs was working as a venue manager in an airport for a restaurant and a bar. And so I managed the bar a lot because, well, you got to stay hydrated, don't you? And
of course.
so it wasn't a bad gig working behind the bar. Like, I can see why many people do it. But like, I knew that every day at about 4 o'clock there was some muppet that came on TV cooking, and like I don't know, I just didn't like his personality. Like, and his food was very basic, and I was like, I could do so much better than this, but I didn't have the equipment or the know-how. And then years had passed, and I stumbled across Bark, and then I stumbled across Rob Richmond, Australian Camping and Four-Wheel Drives, because I got myself a 4-wheel drive. So I was like, all right, what's a lift floor? Like, how high can I raise this thing? And so I came across Snorky, and watched a few of his videos, and then I actually stumbled across Buck after that. And then, skip forward more, DFCE up at Tinaroo. I'm cooking there. I've actually connected up with this, Buck guy, and started cooking there. And I just thought, you know what, like, phones are pretty good these days. Like, I'm just going to start filming stuff on a phone and just see where it takes me. And I mean, every single video on my YouTube channel from day one up until about the last three videos had all been, sorry, I'm lying. Let me correct that. Every single video except for my last video had been filmed on a phone. Everything that I've done was done on my phone that we're talking through right now. And then but what I did over time was just upgraded my equipment to go with that phone. But yeah, they inspired me a lot. I watched a lot of Buck and how he presents himself, because he's very comfortable on camera and very relaxed. And same with Rob Richmond, he's very comfortable and relaxed. And then, I was watching Graham Carhill and Sean Whale for Drive 24/7, and how they operate and stuff. And so I just kind of put all that together with my radio skills and qualifications that I have, and just here we are as the dreaded chef. Like, just put it all together.
you come across really natural, like those guys. I think that's one of the things that, you know, people getting into this whole YouTube thing have to, you know, it's about being true to yourself, right? You don't want to be someone else on camera and then, you know, start to build a successful channel, and 2 or 3 years down the road, you go, that's not me. I don't actually like that guy. And, you know, I think,
I absolutely hate it. Like, you see some YouTube videos and they're just like, all right, guys, here we are. And they're like, there's full arms around everywhere, animated. And you're like, as soon as the camera goes off, they're going to be like, oh, there's my pasta. I'm going to eat it now. Like, they're just not who they are. And I don't like that. Like, with me, it's what you see is what you get. Like, I'm who I am off camera as I am on camera. Like, there's no change.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I've got into doing, you know, wanting to do these interviews, probably because there's not enough exciting about me and dynamic to really run my own show. So I'm going to just, you know, feed off you guys like a leech and try.
Happy to help out, man. Happy to help out. And you know what? Like, I was talking with my fiance leading up to this. I was like, oh, I've got this like interview later on tonight, and I don't know if it's 7:30 or 8:30 my time or 8:30 his time down south, but I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Like, and you know, I said to her, like, you know, he's found a really nice niche thing here. It's a casual, laid back, you know, back and forth interview, and I do think that you're onto something here, and I think that it will pick up. Like, the last few that I've watched, they've actually been very, very enjoyable. Like, and, you know, it was quite easy to watch all of it. So I think you just keep up with it, man. It's going to take off. Like, honestly, dude.
Cheers.
I think you'll go past. I think you'll go past my subscriber level real quick, man. Like,
I won't hold my breath because I think you've got that more personality than me, but and the skills and the passion. So, you know, I'll do my best and see where it goes.
You got this.
So I guess probably 2 more questions, and one I like to kind of spring on a chef whenever I talk to a chef. Now, let's say you're stuck on a desert island and you've got a magic box and it produces 1 meal, and that's all you can ever eat. What's your meal going to be, Ryan? What are you going to have? What when you open this box is that meal?
I like this because this is not what's your favorite dish. This is a different thing.
Yeah, altogether.
Mate, that's an easy one for me. I grew up on pork. When I said that I was, you know, I couldn't have a bath because there's a pig in the bath. You know, I grew up on pork. I'm from a European, you know, family background, and, you know, we love pork. So yeah, for me, it's an easy one. It's a no-brainer. It's pork ribs. It's something that I've been cooking for years and years and years and perfecting over time, you know, from my home oven to my first smoker to the Dreadnought now, that big trailer. Sorry, the beer's catching up. So the Dreadnought, you know, and it's just something that I always cook when it's my go-to for entertaining.
Yeah, I'm feeling you on the pork. Mine is a bacon sandwich, because I think that if you've just got that box that you're going to open any time of day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, after 10 beers, a bacon sandwich is perfect. So it might not be the most inspiring food in the world, but it's the one you could eat any time of day, right?
But it's also the one thing that you can put with absolutely everything. Bacon is the candy and the most versatile of meat. Like, it 100%. Goes on ice cream. It goes everywhere. Like, yeah.
Mate, in fact, got a bit of ketchup. It's good.
give this a go. So get yourself a good bowl of vanilla ice cream, like whatever ice cream, but make sure it's a good vanilla, and then do some bacon crisps, and then put that in there, and then drizzle it. And like, this might sound a little bit far out, but drizzle it with balsamic reduction, like a balsamic glaze.
Really?
It'll blow your mind. Give it a go. You'll love it. It'll blow your mind.
Sure.
Because you think straight away balsamic reduction and ice cream won't work, but it does. You'll love it.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'm going to give that a go. That sounds awesome. So my last question: what's next for the Dreaded Chef? What's happening? Where do you think you're going to be in 12 months? How's it going?
So big things coming along. So I've had quite a few companies come along, like businesses come along and asking me to promote their products. So I do have a product like down off camera that you can't see that I'm going to do a review of very soon.
Exciting.
It'll help people get out camping a lot more, that's for sure. So cool. I've got that there. Then further off screen that way, there's more products as well that Mr. Drifter himself has sent towards me. So I've got myself a camp oven tripod, and I'm going to be doing a cook on that that's going to blow your mind and everyone's mind, because I like to think outside the box. I don't like to be inside the box. I like to challenge myself. So that's going to be a really, really good video. Otherwise, the Dreaded Chef is going to be releasing a series of rubs that'll be available for purchase. So there'll be a series of the dreaded rubs. That was one thing that everyone up at the DFCE and all the way through to today have been nagging me for. Like, everyone that I've come across and cooked for, they want my rubs, they want my sauces. So that's happening this year. That was meant to happen last year, but that's a write-off that year. So yeah, outside of that, I'm also kicking up the next level with one-on-one content, or even community content as well, to help improve everyone's cooking at home. So that's going to encompass a recipe book that's going to be hopefully released at the end of this year. So that'll have all my recipes that you've seen on YouTube in a book, so you can refer to them anytime that you want, plus some ones that aren't going to be on my channel, so that are exclusively in the book and the book alone. And then there's going to be some other extra elements that go with that for those who can't, well, not can't, but need that little extra support when it comes to learning recipes and stuff. So that's going to be really exciting.
So will the book be digital as well? Is it something you can sort of download onto your phone as well as paper?
Yes. So the one thing that I've learned is that we are definitely in the digital age. I'm also, where possible, paperless. So, the Dreaded Chef operates paperless, and my other business that I have operates in a paperless fashion as well. So all for saving our koalas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Got to look after the drop bears. So but
keep the mystery going.
That's it. But basically, I'll be looking at doing a few hard copies for those who specifically want it, and that'll be more of a collector's kind of thing. But 95% of it will be digital. So no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to get it.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, it's so good to be able to have that offline when you're camping as well, because I was making some dirty rice today, because the camping thing I went to was a Southern American theme for the food, and we all brought dishes, and I was doing some dirty rice, and I did it from scratch, and I forgot something, and I had no phone reception. So I managed to get through it, and the guys liked it, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, just by chance there was a few quite big YouTube and Instagram people there. I would say that more than 50,000-60,000 followers, these guys. And I mentioned that I was going to be talking to you today, and all of them said you are the rock star of cooking. The image goes with the food, and a lot of them said to me, pass on. Just they love your channel and they love what you're doing. And so just want a huge thanks from me for taking the time to talk to us tonight. And great to chat to you, Ryan. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. And thank you to all those guys that you were camping with as well. I really, really appreciate it, man. Like, I never thought that I'd be at this level. So I really, really appreciate it so much. So thank you.
No, awesome, mate. Thanks, Ryan. Cheers.
That's cool.